Welcome to Book Banter with me, your host, Dianne Burckhardt. I hope you will join me every Wednesday as we explore all things to do with, well, books. Let's get on with our show today. Hello, my happy people. Today is January 10th, 2024. And normally we would still be on our holiday break between the end of last season and the beginning of the next season. But our 100th broadcast fell within our holiday vacation. So we decided to come back for a special episode with a very special guest. If you have read any of my books or followed my blog at any point in the past, you have probably read about P.R. Burckhardt. Or if you pay attention to my podcast page on my website, you know that Book Banter with Dianne Burckhardt, the Book Talk podcast, is sponsored by P.R. Burckhardt. We wouldn't even have this show without him. But who is P.R. Burckhardt? Well, he is our special guest today, and you're about to find out. So please welcome to Book Banter with Dianne Burckhardt, the man who makes this all possible, my husband, Pedro Burckhardt. The way that I always start out these interviews is I ask the guests to please tell everyone who they are and what they do.
So I'm the famous PR. I am a system engineer, and I write sometimes in my free time. Also, I starting to get back in reading books that I like.
What is it that you actually do for a living?
I'm a business consultant or management consultant. I advise companies how to run business processes in a more efficient way.
And that was one of the big concerns whenever I first started doing my writing and doing a lot of work, putting a lot of my personal information in blogs and things to try and connect with my audience, was we were trying to keep your professional life separate from my professional life, which is part of the reason why you were only mentioned as P.R. Burckhardt.
Yeah, that's correct.
And why was that a concern for your work?
Because I get scrutinized all the time. A lot of background jobs. Every customer does background jobs of people coming in.
Whenever I first started out being an indie author, the first books that I put out, my Into the West Saga serial, I did as Stephen Burckhardt. I was hiding behind a male persona, and the picture that you see for Stephen Burckhardt is my father when he was my age when I was writing the books. He was the face of Stephen Burckhardt for me, and still to this day loves that. But then whenever I tried to write blogs talking about my day and my life, I had the problem with how do I talk about my spouse who happens to be a man when I'm supposed to be a man? And I didn't want to lie and refer to you as my wife. So I went with always referring to you as either just my spouse or my better half. And when I tried to be more precise, I only used your initials and referred to you as PR. And there was a lot of speculation. A lot of people were sending me kind of hidden messages, wanting to figure out if we were actually a gay couple because of the way that I always referred to you. And it seemed to be a lot easier just to let people know that Stephen Burckhardt was a pen name and you are actually my husband.
In fact, I'm your husband since 10 years already.
Yeah. And how have those 10 years been?
Harsh. No, all right, very good. I'm very happy with you.
So now, what is it like dealing with me as a writer on a regular basis? And you can be honest.
Just letting you what you want to do, watching, just being the support there in the back when you get mad or you are out of ideas, just doing what I better do. They are there.
Now, I'm sure people are noticing there is a very big difference between my accent and your accent. Why is that?
Because I have the sexy accent. I'm not the American. I'm from Chile. So in Chile, we have a way of speaking that we don't talk, we sing. That means that We do a lot of inflection in our voice. So we like to sing, and I refer that as the sexy accent.
It definitely is. Now, would you like to explain to our listeners how we met?
I was working in the same city where you live, Wichita, and I was working for a company called Coleman. And I start to meet people, and I ask people, how can I meet someone interesting outside to going to church? For your information, guys, in Wichita, you have a church every 5 blocks. So you can switch church anytime. So they told me, go to this site, and I found you. We start to chat. You were sick by the time we start to chat, so I was patient until you were fit to meet, and we set up our first date. Standard should be a coffee and that's it. Our first date lasted 11 hours.
Now, I should mention, it's like whenever we first met online, we were texting and emailing, and I had a horrible case of pharyngitis at the time and had absolutely no voice at all. I could not speak. And you kept wanting to talk on the phone, and I kept putting you off. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I have a feeling, Nate, you thought at that time that I was kind of blowing you off, but I just absolutely could not speak. I had like the worst case of pharyngitis I'd ever had in my life, and it lasted like 3 weeks. Finally, whenever I did kind of give in and agree to a phone call because I was afraid that you were going to stop asking, I still didn't have much of a voice. I was very hoarse when we first talked.
Yeah, but at least I was persistent.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
That was the key. Still today.
Since all this time, we have been keeping you hidden just as PR Burckhardt and the spouse, the better half. Why are you willing to come out into the spotlight and be with me in my career at this point?
Because now it's you. It's Dianne Burckhardt coming out. And it's good to the audience to know that you are not alone in this endeavor. I'm here with you. I'm supporting you. People also need to know that you have someone that is welcoming you, as I said, in this endeavor, bringing you coffee.
Yes.
Because I know your story. So when you write your next book, I can bring also my insights of any ideas that you have.
Yeah, because you've been with me through a lot of my latest recovery issues.
Yes. So since I know what's going on and what happens when you get sick or you're not feeling okay, I know which pace you need to have when you write.
And you also are very aware of the fact that I'm kind of slow to wake up in the morning. And it was very nice waking up to a cup of coffee beside the bed today. Thank you for that.
I know that.
One thing that all the listeners should know too is you are the reason I have a podcast.
Yeah, when you came up with the podcast idea, I said yes, because basically people today like to text or write emails. And that's, for me, is kind of weird. People are losing the ability to talk, to communicate. So, okay, you are a writer, but writing your advertisement is not the same as talking about this or communicating what your intentions are or what will be the content of the books or any material that you're writing. The voice is important. Through the voice, you raise ideas, intentions, and start to communicate with people, because basically the book is the final product. But in the meantime, you need to feed the people of what you are doing. And the voice is the best way to do it.
So you and I have been married the entire time that I have been trying to build this career. It started off because after we got married, you got a job offer in Denmark and we moved there. And the fact that I did not know how to speak Danish, I was having a hard time finding a job in town. So I started looking online for things to do, and I found ghostwriting. And I did a couple of things like that. But then I decided once they were well received that I wanted to write for myself. And that's when I started the Into the West Saga serial collection. You have been with me since the very beginning of this. What has it been like for you watching me try to build this writing career out of nothing?
In fact, because the different countries we have lived, the limitation of the language and other things, and you start to be entrepreneur, right? I think that is, I was aware there's a long haul, it's a long way until you get recognized by the level we expected, and it's a learning process that I have learned also on the way. But basically, I see you as a very successful writer, but the time, the place, and the right audience is a challenge.
Yeah.
Now, 2 or 3 is building up time and audience. Now we need the right product at the right time.
How do you think I've done working towards the goals that I have set for myself? Because the audience doesn't know this, but this last weekend, I had a, I guess, moment of doubt, or more accurately, a complete meltdown as I was trying to put together my business plan for Burckhardt Books. And I was absolutely questioning whether or not I should just chuck it all, stop doing the podcast, stop doing the magazine, maybe keep writing books, but look for a job outside of the house and just get a regular job again and quit trying to do all of this. And you talked me out of that. So, what is your perspective on how I have been doing working towards my goals?
As I said, it's a long way, right? Takes years to do it, but I'm here to support you, not only with the podcast or whatever needs to be paid. That's not the matter. The matter is here that you keep going. When you have those meltdowns, it's just a stone on the path, and for your good luck, I'm very good on that. Moving stones on the path.
Yes, you are. You keep me going quite often.
Yeah,
Probably more often than you should have to.
but that's the job.
With all of the things that I've been trying to accomplish, what do you think I struggle with the most?
Keep focused. You do a lot of things at the same time.
Yeah.
And timing. Sometimes you are a little bit too ambitious.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
And it's part of your personality or part of your characteristic. Sometimes you are not very patient.
Sometimes. That's a generous assessment right there. I am never patient.
I'm a patient person. I'm very good pacing people. I'm good moving stones out of the path. And on that, I'm very, very creative.
I think you are my patience. That's like your main role in my life is to keep me calmed down.
Yeah.
What was it about everything that I was doing that made you decide to invest your own money in my process? Because I'm investing all of my time in Burckhardt Books and Book Banter with Dianne Burckhardt and the Book Banter magazine. I'm not doing anything outside of this to bring in income, and these streams are not bringing in any revenue at the moment. So, what was it that made you decide to invest your money in my career?
The thing is, I recognize your talent. You have developed your talent by yourself with minor guidance from other authors. You read a lot to get inspiration. And some people, when they see difficulties, they just give up. You are persistent. You are somehow constant, and you are aware that the long goal is this. That means one book that will raise to the sky. That is what you need now. That is what makes you focus on the long term.
What kind of advice would you give to a spouse of somebody trying to create this kind of indie author or somebody even going to be aiming for being a traditionally published author. Just anybody who's trying to build this kind of career for themselves. How can the people in their lives help them to reach their goals?
I cannot make someone do things. It has to come from you, from your heart. The job of the partner is to be there, especially in the meltdown. The thing is, you need to recognize that there is something at the end of the road. The thing is, what do you want to accomplish at the end of the road? You want to be publishing 50 books in a month to keep audience up to the game, or you want to learn how to build a hitter. I call them a hitter. And the best example of that, or where I find this kind of thinking, is the author of Harry Potter. She took many years until she got a hit. It takes a long time to learn how to do it. She had the vision, and that is what she's doing.
Have you personally read all of the books that I've written?
I have read one and a half.
What made you stop reading them?
No, I'm not stopping them. It's just I'm being lately in a lot of changes in my career, so I'll keep focused on that. But as I said, have a list of books that I have to read in the next years, and your books are on those in that list.
Well, in my genre is not really your preferred genre, though, is it?
No, I'm really ignorant of that genre, of that style. I'm more history, more biographies.
So, what are some of the books that you have liked reading?
Actually, I started this year reading a book about the Mossad, that's the intelligence Israeli service. Reading now Bonaparte, the biography from Napoleon Bonaparte. I have some books from Arnold Schwarzenegger about tips for life, and I'm looking to read one of my dream books. That's the notes from Julius Caesar, from the Roman emperor.
You like a lot of military and strategy kind of books.
Yes, military. These military books helps to build strategies for business. The first strategy book I read last year, it's a real serious strategy book outside of all the articles that are running around in the internet, of course, was the famous Chinese book, The Art of War. And if you read those 13 chapters, I start to imagine how to apply those to my actual job. Most of people who work in sales read that book, but very less people know how to apply it. I'm not a salesperson, but I'm a strategist. How to reach my goal through the plan A, B, and C. That give you guidance on this kind of books that I mentioned. There is something I can learn, then I have to think about how to apply them to my daily base.
And how's that working for you?
It's working fine.
Now, since we've been married, you've actually started writing yourself.
Yes.
What are you working on?
My life before you was very active in traveling. I was all around the world. The only continent where I have not put my feet yet is Africa, officially.
Mm-hmm.
But I have so many stories about these business adventures and all the things I have done in parallel that I got some advice from friends that I should write my biography. So as I said, I'm not a writer like you guys. I just write my memories as I remember in my language. And when the time comes, I will probably hire a ghostwriter to help me to build that in a book. And not as a biography, as a novel or something like that. I have not think about that. But I have so many good memories. As I said, friends ask me, please write it down. I will certainly buy your book. And I think that a lot of people will read your book.
Now, what about the blog? You have a blog that you do, don't you? Or is that just for you?
No, that blog is the base of my biography, but it's not published, it's just for me.
Don't you have something to write on SAP practices?
I write in LinkedIn and have also my own webpage where I comment tips and tops how to run successful projects based on my experience.
So now is the point of the show that we always do 5 quick questions that never turn out to be quick, but we still keep doing it anyway, just because it's fun. Are you ready?
Ready?
You don't sound thrilled.
Come on. Show me.
Question 1. Which do you like better, Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Really? It was that easier for you to answer that one? I thought that would be a little bit more challenging. But you love Spock so much.
Yeah, Spock is an inspiration, but the action, the story is better built in Star Wars.
Okay.
It's a story.
So, question 2. What was the best thing about living in the United States?
Oh, traveling, IHOP,
I hope.
and Texas Roadhouse, and having my uncle right next to me.
Yeah, I miss Avald. Ahem. Ahem.
Yeah.
Sweetie,
Yes. 3.
what else did you find in the US?
You.
No, thank you. Okay.
You said things, not persons.
Yeah, but you mentioned Evald.
Yeah. Okay.
So, question 3. What is your favorite book from childhood?
The prince, the young prince.
Oh, The Little Prince, the one on the moon?
Yes.
The French book?
Yeah.
I have never read that.
Oh, there's so much to learn from that book.
Really? Like what?
Patience.
I may need to read that book right away then. Question 4. I personally know how much you like dogs. And of course, your favorite dog would be our current Russian rescue, Shaggy. But other than Shaggy, what dog have you had in the past that you absolutely miss?
I miss my German Shepherd,
Which one was that?
Max.
Oh, that was Max? I didn't realize he was a German Shepherd. I thought he was a bulldog.
No,
When did you have Max?
I don't remember the exact dates, but that guy was so intelligent.
Was that in the US?
No, it was in Chile when I live alone. When I was living by myself, I had that guy with me.
It's always good to have a dog with you.
Yes.
If you could pick any breed that you wanted to have now besides Shaggy, what would you like?
An English Bulldog.
I know you like those. My dad loves those too.
They're very smart. If you train them correctly, they're very smart.
The only thing I remember about the English bulldogs that my dad had when I was little was if I ran through the backyard, they would jump on me, knock me down, and take my shoes off. That's the only thing I remember about the bulldogs. And they ate the siding off the house and one of the trees in the backyard. That I remember too. So now question 5. If for some reason I should actually make money at being an author, what would you like me to get for you as a thank you gift for all of your support through my process?
So you can choose.
Okay, but we've talked about this before. What is it you really want?
I want either a Ferrari Modena or Bugatti.
So I'm going to have to definitely get a movie deal for books that I write because that's probably the only way that I'm going to make that happen.
Yes.
But I definitely would love to be able to gift you a Bugatti one day. That's the goal. What do you want to see happen going forward with my career?
So I'm not sure you're gonna win a Pulitzer with your biography, but you got already an important prize that give you a lot of visibility. Last year you win the
That was the She Inspires Shiro Award in the global category.
Yes, and that's an accomplishment, and so I see you that happening every time you publish a book on your own name.
I will do my best.
You can do it.
So now, is there anything that you would like the listeners to know about you or our life or anything that you want to add to this?
We have a good life. I'm happy with you. There are some challenges all the time, but it's part of the deal that I sign off. We need to be together in good and bad times. But more or less, I would say that everyone who is listening and is in the same situation as myself, be there, breathe. There are two magic words. When your partner breaks down, she wants to throw everything away. There are two words you can say there, her. They are there.
In case anybody who has read my book series, they're going to recognize that because I had one of the characters always doing that they didn't know how to comfort people without being overly affectionate. So they would always pat their hand and say, "They're there." And now people know where I got that from.
Yes.
You actually had quite an influence on some of the characters that I wrote. There was a lot of things that you do with me that I brought into the characters. And if people ever spent time with us, they would recognize a lot of the things that the characters say and do come directly from you in the way that you you deal with me.
Yeah, I recognized in the first book that there was some things that I do with you.
When you're reading, you're like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah, I know that, but it helps. It works.
And I think for us, we have some extra challenges that most married couples do not have. The fact that we're both from different cultures, very different cultures, we have different mother languages, we have cultural things that we were both brought up in, that you are more from a proper aristocratic kind of family who had formal dinners in the home, where I come from, people in the Midwest, that it's much more relaxed country kind of lifestyle. And we've been trying very hard over the last 10 years to blend that into our own family culture. And it's been very interesting what we've come up with.
We come up with a middle point.
Mm-hmm.
There are times I like to sit down in a table, having a nice dinner, and we have time. We sit on the couch and watch TV, just asking for delivery. No stress.
Mm-hmm. It is one thing that I truly do appreciate about you is you are very good at coming up with no stress situations when I'm trying to get things done.
Yeah. I think that in my personal work life is a lot of stress, and it's always about delivering on time with quality and all the stuff. That's a lot of stress. So when I am in my home, I don't want to have more stress. I try to, if I see that stress is building up, I just do my best to get that stress out. Sometimes stress gets out with very simple things.
Such as?
Ask the Chinese guy in the corner.
Yes, I think between him and the pizza guy around the other corner, we have become known in this neighborhood.
Yes.
Do you want people to know how to find you online? Would you like people to check out your website?
If you look for prburckhardt.info, that's my website, my professional website.
And if anybody is looking for tips on how to work in SAP, they can find you on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So how has this been? Was this absolutely horrible, or did you enjoy doing the podcast with me?
I enjoy it.
Do you think you would ever want to do this again? Maybe whenever you're ready to do your book?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me. I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering for quite a while, who is PR Burckhardt? Who is the better half?
Yes. Now you know who I am. You know how to reach me if you want to know more gossips about that. And I'm welcome to help anyone is in my same situation as me, supporting your better half on her career. You just can reach me and we can discuss. I can give you tips how to handle certain situations.
That will actually be pretty helpful for some people.
Yeah.
Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome, sweetie.
So there you go, folks. Now you have met the incredible Pedro Burckhardt. And I admit, I am a little biased. I am, rather fond of him. I mean, I've been married to him for 10 years. I gotta like him a little bit. But I have to admit, it's like he is just so much fun. We have a great time together. We're weird in the same way. We like the same sci-fi. We love conventions. We just do so much stuff together. It's really just amazing how much he supports everything that I'm trying to do. And I absolutely would not have had the opportunity to do any of this if it wasn't for him. So that's it for our special 100th episode. I hope you enjoyed this. And don't forget, our season 3 begins February 7th. That is the first Wednesday in February. We also have our next issue of Book Banter magazine coming up. We are going to just be issuing a magazine every other month this year because I found doing it every month was just a little bit too much work for me. I have 2 books that I want to publish this year, so I need time for that as well. But starting in February, our February-March issue is going to be all about love. Of course, I mean, it is the season for that. But it's going to be more than just romantic love. We're also doing self-love and passions for life, and even a little bit on lost love and how to deal with the grief that comes with that. We're trying to cover all aspects of this, not just the normal romance, because there's so much more to it and life. But for now, we're going to end this show, but do not forget to come back for brand new episodes for season 3 starting February 7th and our next issue of Book Banter magazine. That's it for today, folks. Please go forth and be very happy.